It's Amanda, and this is a spoiler discussion of part 2 about the name Hogwarts. Now, I've been getting some really good feedback from people and some friends of mine about the script, and so far everything's going pretty well. But there is one kind of dislike for one particular scene at the end of part 2 that people were kind of expecting more from, and it didn't happen, so they're like, it's fine, but I just wanted it to be better than what it is. And it's funny to me because it's the same scene with everybody, and this scene that people don't really like is like my favorite scene in the entire script. In all 4 parts, this scene is my absolute favorite. So the scene is when the 4 founders come up with the name of Hogwarts. The school's just been built. Helga and Salazar just come back from recruiting students. Godric and Rowena have just finished building. And they come together and they decide that we need to name the school. Now, when I was writing this like a year ago, I was really nervous about writing a scene where they come up with the name, because this is kind of a big deal. This is the name of the school that we call home. And it was really nerve-wracking because it's like, how do they get to the point where they name it Hogwarts? Who's the person that actually says it? What were they all thinking when it happened? Where were they when this happened? Because I know J.K. Rowling has already thought of this scene, she's already written it out, and it's already awesome. And now I was just kind of like, I really don't want to screw this up. I really want to write something kind of awesome for this da-da-da-da moment. So originally, when I wrote the scene, I was kind of playing around with the idea that they go to like the Court of Lords and they present their school, and they hadn't come up with the name just yet. It was not Celia, one of the students, that had asked, hey, by the way, what's the name of your school? But it was in fact the Queen. And then one of them says Hogwarts, and then they all agree to it. Like, yes, that's a distinguished name. And I didn't like it. And so I kept rewriting it to kind of make it more of a punch with like, this is what we decided and we think it's awesome regardless of what you guys think. And every time I was rewriting it, it was like the 4 founders were looking at me like, this is what you think how we came up with the name? Like, this is what you think Hogwarts means to us? And it was just, I couldn't write this big scene with them presenting it. Now, I will say that Salazar quite enjoyed being in front of a bunch of people and announcing the school that he was very proud of. He didn't have a problem with that. And even Rowena was kind of like, da-da-da-da, look what I've done. But that's not what Hogwarts means to them. That's not where the name comes from. So I didn't write it for 6 weeks. I moved on with my life. I was writing everything else. And then I realized, coming to the end of part 2, I kind of need to write this scene. So I was in Carlsbad and I was walking around my aunt's neighborhood because I was staying with her at the time. And of course, since it's California, it's like 70 degrees all year and it's beautiful. So I'm walking around and I remember listening to Goo Goo Dolls' Big Machine, because that's sort of my like walking music because it has a really nice tempo. I kind of stripped away the whole court scene. I got rid of everybody else, and I just thought they just got done building it and they have this empty school that's not even furnished yet, and they're all meeting up and they realize they haven't come up with a name yet. So I just thought, why wouldn't they have a picnic? Why wouldn't they just sit in the Great Hall, eat, and let's face it, get a little drunk? Why not? You've just accomplished something so magnificent. I think a little celebration is in order. But it's just for the 4 of them. Helena is not there. None of the workers are there. And they're sitting around and they're laughing and they're goofing off and they're having a great time. And to me, this is the first time up to this point in the script that you have 4 friends. That they're not just paired off. They're not just boys and girls and then these 2 friends and these 2 friends. It's 4 people who have come together, who have figured out how to work with each other. Because yes, part 2 is about building Hogwarts, but it's also trying to figure out who everybody is and how to work with everybody and trying to just make a friendship. And of course, the best way to bring 4 people together is to give them a common enemy, which is at the end of this. To really bring these 4 people together as friends and to have them laughing and having a good time, to me, it's the happiest moment of part 2, and it's the happiest moment of the whole series. This is the midpoint of our story. And it's awesome to have them sitting there. Because if I could be in any scene, if I could be a fly on the wall, or if I could just sit down and not talk, but not partake, but just witness any scene in all 4 parts, it would be this one. To see them coming up with it, you know? And once I kind of figured that out, and once that scene started writing, it pretty much kind of wrote itself. Because Hogwarts and Hogsmeade are so close together in their names. I just imagine Rowena, since she was the one that is the reason why it got pretty much started in the first place, to give her the credit for it. Now I know in Pottermore, and I think this got released a couple weeks ago, was that Rowena had a dream about Hogwarts, and that's where she got the name from, and which is awesome, and I'd love to read like the whole scene of that, but I like that she gets a little drunk and she wants to name it Hogsmeade. She wants to name it after the town, but can't remember it, and ends up going with Hogwarts, and every single person agrees to it. Everyone likes it. It's a name that all 4 of them can agree on. And I think it's wonderful. And I like it. And it's my absolute, again, like I said before, it's my absolute favorite scene. So I'm sorry if it wasn't as, you know, pomp and circumstance as you was hoping for, but I like the scene, and I think it fits, and I think it works. So if you have any cares, questions, concerns, let me know. And yeah, stay tuned. We got more stuff coming to you guys.